Was there a cover-up in Steubenville? New questions about who knew what and when about the rape of a teenager and the picture, video, and tweets that went viral.
There is a full-scale investigation of so many more people who clearly had so much to do with this.
2 high school football players in jail.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
A community on edge.
We sweep the filth for Jane Doe. Yes, yes.
The investigation in full force.
This community needs assurance that no stone has been left unturned in our search for the truth.
All right, again, so what we're talking about here, not only are the two that raped the 16-year-old, we're talking about adults, and that's been the concern all along, right?
A possibility of a cover-up.
Adults covered up.
Yes.
Is this the high school football community that
that
did anything they could to cover this up?
Yeah, let's take a look at who these people are that have been indicted. Okay, it's an elementary school principal, a wrestling coach. Both of them are charged with failure to report child abuse or neglect. There's also a former volunteer football coach and the school district superintendent. They're facing a number of charges, including obstructing official business and giving false statements.
And again, 2 high school football players were convicted of rape in March, and last month the district's director of technology was indicted on 4 charges, including perjury and tampering with evidence.
Well, joining us now, Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine. Mike, thank you so much for being with us. I think a lot of people are disturbed by some of the findings through this investigation. What is it that led to these additional indictments?
Well, after we finished up the rape prosecution, I told the people of Steubenville and Jefferson County that we would continue our investigation. In fact, that I would ask for the impaneling of a grand jury to really see if there had been any kind of cover-up. That grand jury completed its work late Friday. The indictments were handed down today, and as you've already reported, 4 individuals were charged with these different offenses that you've enumerated. I think what the grand jury was really saying is, look, if we're going to hold kids accountable, we have to also hold adults accountable. And that adults have an obligation. They have an obligation, if there's underage drinking, to go deal with that. And they know about it, they have to go deal with it. They have an obligation to cooperate with investigators, not hide things. And they have an obligation, if a child is endangered under Ohio law, they have an obligation to report that. None of this is any more than common sense or basic human decency. And that's really what the laws mirror, is what we should be doing anyway.
And Mike, this has to rock a community, because just looking at this list, you're talking about people that should be, and again, these allegations, should be pillars of a community, a superintendent, an elementary school principal, as Lyndon mentioned, a wrestling coach, and an assistant football coach. These are people that should be our leaders, right?
That's correct. There are a lot of great people in Steubenville, and what I've consistently tried to point out is that what happened in Steubenville in regard to these rapes, where you had a young girl underage who was drinking, a lot of people were drinking, she had much too much to drink, and then you had people who took advantage of her sexually and assaulted her. That's not just a Steubenville problem, though. That is a problem across this country. And that really has been our message, that, look, this is a societal problem that we have.
Well, and we hope that sends a message out there, as you point out. But a lot of people are asking, why wasn't the head football coach indicted? A lot of eyes were on him initially, and we know some volunteer football coaches, but why not the head football coach?
Well, I can't talk about specifics because under Ohio law, the grand jury proceedings are secret. But what I can say is this grand jury heard from 123 live witnesses who came in and testified. Wow. In addition to that, they had all the evidence that we had already accumulated. They had a tremendous amount of text messages, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them. So they had all the evidence. And I will tell you that this grand jury did not hesitate in doing what they thought they should do and didn't really care what a person's title was. So if someone was not indicted, it tells us that they did look at it. I can guarantee you they looked at everybody, and this is what they came down to. They came down to that there was not, for those individuals who were not indicted, there simply was not enough evidence, there was not probable
But
cause
real
to
quick,
believe
could
that
there
all
be
the
more
elements of a crime
indictments? Could there be any more indictments?
It's possible. We think this investigation, as far as the aftermath of the rape, we think that investigation is over with. Barring something unforeseen, barring newly discovered evidence, I believe the grand jury's work is done. But is it possible that there could be newly discovered evidence? Well, sure. You can't totally rule that out.
All right, Mike DeWine, Ohio State Attorney General. Thanks again for spending some time with us. Again, we're going to stay on top of this story, and he couldn't get into specifics. But again, we're talking about leaders of the community allegedly not reporting what they knew, to Mike's point.
Hard
there.
to imagine, as you point out.